Regent Park is situated on 69 acres and is located just east of downtown Toronto. The revitalization plan involves demolishing and replacing all 2,083 rent-geared to income units and adding nearly 400 new affordable units and over 5,500 market condominium and market rental units. The revitalization plan is taking place over 5 phases and is expected to take 25 years to carry out. The redevelopment is now over halfway complete, with work focused to date on phases 1 through 3. We've constructed over 1,600 social housing units and 2,400 market units, along with parks, community facilities, roads, and an arts and cultural center. Based on the current rezoning, phases 4 and 5, which were the subject of the request for proposal call, will consist of approximately 1,900 residential units, including over 500 replacement social housing units and over 1,350 market units. TCHC undertook a 2-stage procurement process for the Phase 4 and 5 lands. It was overseen by a Fairness Commissioner retained by TCHC to ensure that both stages of the process were unbiased and did not favor or prejudice any one proponent. His oversight was summarized in a report. We also consulted with external counsel with expertise in procurement law on an as-needed basis. The first stage was our request for vendor qualifications, or RFVQ, which was released in August of 2018. Proponents were evaluated on their vision for the future phases, their past experience, and their team. We received 4 submissions and 3 proponents were shortlisted to move on to stage 2. The second stage was a request for proposals, which was released in April of 2019. The RFP had several steps. The first includes an initial evaluation of rated criteria, which was completed by a TCHC staff panel with expertise in development, finance, and real estate law. The next step was for the proponents to present their community economic development proposal to the community, and the community evaluated them. This occurred in October of 2019. After that, we moved on to concurrent negotiations, which consisted of holding separate commercially confidential meetings with each of the proponents. This was followed by a best and final offer stage. The top scoring proponent from the best and final offer stage was Tridel, and we negotiated a memorandum of understanding with them last month, which brings us to today's meeting. This slide provides an overview of the rated criteria that was used in both the initial evaluation and the best and final offer. The initial evaluation was comprised of 5 rated criteria worth 80 points and a community presentation worth 20 points. Therefore, the total was out of 100. The best and final offer, or BAFO stage, was also evaluated based on these same rated criteria. The only difference being that there was no further community presentations in the BAFO. Therefore, the total score was out of 80 points instead of 100. In reviewing the RFP evaluation criteria, the proponent team is the staffing structure and was worth 2 points. In section B, the business concept is a quantitative criteria and is scored based on a relative formula where the highest offer receives full points, and the points for other offers are calculated based on a proportion of the top dollar offer. This section was worth 40 points. Analysis of risk and risk mitigation asked proponents to identify market, construction, and tenant disruption risks, and asked how their proposal would mitigate against them. It also asked for proponents to provide their assumptions on sales pricing, absorption rates, construction cost, and escalation, so that TCHC could compare them to benchmark rates to ensure they were reasonable. We asked proponents to provide their approach to marketing and sales and speak to the relevant market experience. We also asked proponents to provide contributions towards community economic development in the form of job commitments, scholarships, and investment to support the social development plan. There were several requirements for advancement through the RFP process. In step 1, the initial evaluation stage, which was out of 80 points, proponents must receive an overall score of not less than 50% for each rated criteria and at least 70% overall to move on to the next step. They had to score 56 out of 80 points. We had 3 proponents and 6 business concepts because we had asked each proponent to submit a land sale and a joint venture offer. All 3 proponents made it through. In step 2, we added their score from the community evaluation to the rated criteria score, so the initial evaluation was out of the 100 points. To move on to step 3, they had to achieve a minimum score of 70% overall. And according to the RFP rules, we proceeded to negotiate automatically with the top 2 ranking proponents. And for the third ranked, only their best proposal would make it through if it scored within 10% of the second ranked proponent. After the initial evaluation stage, all 3 proponents were invited to submit a best and final offer. They were evaluated based on the same rated criteria as the first step. And again, the only difference was that the best and final offer stage was out of 80 points instead of 100, as we did not ask them to do another community presentation. The proponent with the highest BAFO score moved on to the negotiations and the memorandum of understanding. Residents were involved throughout the request for proposal process. Prior to the release of the RFP, TCHC met with 4 members of the Regent Park Neighborhood Association, or RPNA, who reviewed the community economic development section of the request for proposal and provided input. In June 2019, TCHC held 2 resident meetings to gather information on the community's priorities and the concerns. We summarized the results in a community conversations report and forwarded it to the developer proponents so they could include relevant information in their proposals. Also during that summer, TCHC worked with a resident group to prepare and distribute information about the October 2019 community evaluation, which was open to all residents in Regent Park. Information was shared with over 600 residents and revolved around informing the community about the RFP process, training residents about the importance of attending and scoring on the community presentation day, and involving them in what vetted questions should be asked of the developers. On October 5th, 2019, over 300 residents attended the developer presentations and evaluated their CED proposals. Following that, a subgroup of RPNA was formed out of the advocacy arm and met with TCHC to further prioritize community benefits. The result was the Community Benefits Framework, which was signed by TCHC and community representatives in March of this year. It outlines principles for how TCHC will represent the Regent Park community during the RFP negotiations and to provide a clear list of community priorities and how TCHC will work with the community during the 1-year public process.
Hello, William and Peter, and welcome to RPTV News. On today's episode, we are going to be discussing the announcement by the Toronto Community Housing Corporation that a new developer has been chosen for the final construction phases of 4 and 5 in the Regent Park Revitalization, and the allocation of $26.8 million to support social development goals. But before we begin, I'm wondering if you can both tell us a little bit about yourselves and what it is you do at the TCHC.
Well, first of all, Dimitri, thank you very much for having us here today. It's great to be here and to be a part of the Regent Park community. So my name is Peter Zimmerman. I'm the Senior Director of Development at Toronto Community Housing, responsible for Regent Park Revitalization. So I'm new to TCH. I've been here only for 3 months, but this is a return for me. I've worked at TCH in the past. I was here more than 10 years ago. I worked on the original master planning exercise for Regent Park in the early 2000s. And prior to that, I was working in the community in the 90s, talking to Regent Park residents who were first having the ideas around revitalization. So for me, this is a homecoming. I'm very excited to be here, and I'm very excited to be working with the community on the revitalization of Regent Park and working together on phases 4 and 5. So thanks again for having me.
Okay.
Thank you again, Dimitri. My name is William Mendez. I've been working in TCHC for about 13 or 14 years. And when I first started in Toronto Community Housing, I actually worked in Regent Park with young people, getting them connected to employment opportunities and getting them involved in planning out the park and various other aspects of revitalization. And my role, I'm one of the directors in the development division. I'm responsible for the engagement and community development activities across the revitalization sites within TCHC. And I'm also very excited to support the Regent Park neighborhood and the wonderful residents to achieve their social transformation goals and work with us, the city and partners, to continue on the great work that has started over the many years.
Thank you both, Peter and William. So my first question is, can you briefly explain how and why the TCHC felt it needed to change developers at this final stage of the revitalization, especially since the Daniels Corporation had accomplished so much in terms of both transforming the physical structure of Regent Park and expanding the social dimension of what a community can be?
So, Dimitri, I guess, it's a great question, and I understand why it's coming. It is a big change, but so as a part of the background of this, our relationship with Daniels ended at the end of phase 3 of the revitalization process. Our contractual relationship with them, that their selection through a competitive RFP process, ended at the end of phase 3 of the revitalization work. And because we're a public agency, because we are part of the City of Toronto, we are obligated to have public, open request for proposals processes whenever we are entering into big new business relationships with new partners. So for phases 4 and 5, we were obligated to go out and to have an open process, a competitive process, where we would invite companies from across the city to bid on this relationship. So what we tried to do through this process is to achieve the best social, financial, and built form outcomes for the community, for TCHC, and the broader city. And it was a competitive process, and through that competitive process, Tridel emerged as the leading candidate, and we entered into a relationship with them for that very reason. We are obligated to do this because we're a public agency, and I think the public process here worked very well because we ended up with a great deal for the final 2 phases of revitalization.
Do you want to say anything on that, William?
No, I think,
Okay.
just to add on to it, it's, I know people are anticipating to work closely with Tridel, much like they've worked with Daniels. And I think through the process, the community can definitely look forward to that.
Okay, so when the request for proposal went out in 2018 and the 3 final developers were chosen, can you explain to our audience what it is about the Tridel proposal that was so different, so compelling, that it beat out the Daniels Corporation, with whom you'd already had such a successful relationship with, and the capital investments? I mean, I know that there were a series of points and the developers were scored like that, but can you break that down for us? Like what does that really mean?
Yeah, so I guess I'll jump in on this one, and Will, maybe you can chime in if I haven't hit all the points. But the first thing I would say is that a good and fair RFP process on a really complex project like this needs to take into consideration a whole range of issues. So there's certainly the financial aspects of the deal. There's certainly the social development aspects of the deal, and I know Will is going to be talking about that. There is the marketing of the condominium projects. There is the overall vision that is being presented in terms of what they propose to build. There's the way that they're going to mitigate risks for TCHC and the city as a part of this development process. So it's a pretty robust and pretty complicated RFP process and a complex set of responses that we had to look at very, very carefully. Now, if you ask me why Tridel, it's because across the broad range of criteria that we used to evaluate the competing proposals, they emerged as the best deal from a social, economic, risk management perspective for the community, for TCH and the city. And that's why we recommended to our board of directors that we would enter into a relationship with them for these final two phases of the revitalization.
Thank you.
I think that's a pretty well-rounded response over there. I don't think there's much I can add on to that.
Okay. So let's go on. And so can you tell us how the figure of $26.8 million in community benefits was arrived at?
Okay. So, as Peter explained, as part of the RFP process, we looked at a broad range of items that were important to the revitalization. And one of the key things was taking a look at what the different three developer proponents were putting on the table to support the social transformation goals of Regent Park. And those came together as a community benefits, and community benefits are specific benefits a community receive from a given development project. For Regent Park phases 4 and 5, community benefits will be secured in an agreement. So it's Tridel has put forward a valuation, and that valuation is a proposal for community economic development as well as community benefits, and comprises a valuation of jobs, training, scholarships, as well as funds and other initiatives to support various tenant priorities and social transformation goals. So, the important part is that there's a commitment from Tridel to ensure that there's the social transformation and the physical transformation, and combining them both to deliver well in both areas to see the co-created vision that the community and the city and TCHC have created for a vibrant Regent Park. What
are the next stages in the rollout of these funds, and when will the community see tangible benefits coming through?
So a part of formalizing and finalizing the community benefit agreement, we'll be engaging with the community to better understand what the community's priorities are, what tenants are looking forward to as part of a social transformation of Regent Park. And we'll be aligning the community benefits as much as possible to meet those goals. We hope to start this one-year engagement process as soon as we can. And I think the community can start seeing some of these tangible benefits as Tridel rolls out different opportunities related to employment, training, and scholarships to at least start. And they'll see, I'm really excited to work with the community to ensure that their priorities are met throughout this process.
Okay. As the developer partner of TCHC, Daniels took a very hands-on approach in fostering relationships with the community. Daniels' management were very accessible to community members and were frequently present at community events. What are you expecting from Tridel?
Daniels has done an excellent job in getting involved with the community and engaging with the community to understand community development, to understand what are some of the challenges residents in Regent Park face, and have been very active with not only with TCHC, but other partners as well across the city to help achieve a really robust community development program for Regent Park. And Tridel has also done the same in other communities where there are developer partner in Alexandra Park and also Leslie Nymark, and they've also done a very similar. They've taken a very similar approach to work with the community, attend community meetings, establish working groups, and really drive forward employment opportunities and community investments that help with community building, with really good economic development plans, and supporting tenants achieve their goals and their vision for a vibrant and accessible and inclusive community. So I think Daniels and Tridel have a lot in common, where they're very active in the community, and they've both demonstrated a solid track record and have built really good relationships with the community. And I'm proud of both the developers, and I'm really happy to work with both of them in Regent Park. I think it presents a very unique and exciting opportunity for all of us. And I really hope the residents of Regent Park look forward to continuing the relationship with Daniels and building a relationship with Tridel as well.
Great, thank you. So following up on that, what would you like to say to community members who are expecting to have the same kind of relationship that they had with Tridel that they had with Daniels?
Well, why don't we kick it off? I mean, Tridel is a company that has been in business for, I think, somewhere in the order of 77 years. They're one of the largest builders in Canada. It is a multi-generational company with still family involvement and a very strong commitment to community building. And that's why we've had a successful relationship with them in the other two revitalization projects that we've been working on. And this is the relationship that we hope to have with them in Regent Park. So we think it's going to be a great relationship. We think they're a great company. We think they have lots of skills and energy to bring to the table. And I think Regent is going to be better in a way to have these two excellent companies working side by side on the final build out of the development.
Okay, and how long do you think the construction phase 4 and 5 are expected to take, and what are some of the construction plans?
Well, right now we don't have construction plans. There is a master plan that is in place. We're going to revisit it. We're going to take a look at it, and this is our final opportunity to create Regent Park and to make sure we've got it right and make sure we've got all the elements in the development that we all think should be there. So, for instance, one of the things that we're going to have a conversation with the community about, one of the things we're very excited about, is that there will be a Toronto Public Library as a part of the new development. But that's going to require us to have some adjustments in the plan. We're going to take a look at how we're going to fit in these various aspects. We'd like to have some additional affordable housing as a part of the development. That's going to be something that we're going to need to take a look at. We hope to get an application in for our first buildings within the next 12 months. We have to design them. We have to take them through the approvals process, and then we have to get them set up for construction. So I would say sometime within the next 24 months, we'll be in a position to start delivering the first buildings, start working on the first buildings. But we're also going to be involved in a consultation and dialogue with the broader community, Regent Park residents, to figure out what we can do to make sure that this final 2 phases of the development are really going to be great and are really going to meet the needs of the community, because this is our last best chance to get it right. So I'd say construction within the next 2 years, final rollout of the entire development probably within the next 8 to 10 years. All of the buildings should be completed.
So were any of these considerations available in Tridel's proposal for when they were presenting it to you in the request for proposals? Like these kinds of details?
Well, let me say this, is that one of the things that we asked all of the potential development partners to do is to tell us what they thought an alternative vision might look like as a part of the development. And that was just an opportunity to get a sense of their creativity and the things that they might consider as a part of the overall development. Right now is the beginning of a new process, and it's a process that will involve us, it will involve the community, and it will involve Tridel to map out what these final 2 phases of the development is going to look like.
Okay, great. So is there anything else either of you would like to add to this that we might not have covered yet?
I just once again just want to reiterate like the importance of moving forward and seeing through the social transformation and physical transformation goals of this revitalization. And now we have the opportunity of not only working with one great developer, but 2 great developers in Regent Park. And all the momentum that has been built over the years is definitely snowballing into what I believe will be a very great impact for the community in a positive way. And I'm really looking forward to the next I guess 10 years or 15 years of revitalization in Regent Park.
Well, okay.
Sorry, I would just echo Will's remarks and just say how excited we all are to be working with the community on the final 2 phases of the revitalization of Regent Park. This is an extraordinary opportunity for everyone to build a great neighborhood and make an important contribution to the city as a whole. So we're excited, we're energized, we're really looking forward to working with the community, and we're really looking forward to the next couple of years of working closely with the neighborhood, the residents, to come up with a final plan that's going to be fantastic and something that we're all going to be proud of.
Thank you, Peter, and thank you, William, both for joining us today and helping to clarify some points in terms of what will be happening next in the revitalization of Regent Park. There are many things to discuss, and I believe that you've helped illuminate us quite a bit in these for what's going to be happening in next stages. So once again, thank you, and we will no doubt be speaking with you again as time goes by. Thank you. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Please do not forget to like, comment, and share to our channel. Follow us on all our social media platforms. And for more information, please check out our website.